Well, hello and welcome to another LinkedIn Live Q&A where I'm delighted to be joined by Ashleigh King, who is the executive producer of TEDxNewcastleUniversity. So I'm delighted to be joined by you, Ashleigh. So do you want to tell us a little bit about TEDx and what this event is all about that's going to be taking place on the 11th of April?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invitation, Paul. And it's worth saying as well, I'm on my lunch break. What a great way to spend my lunch talking to you. So for anyone who's listening now or replaying this later, who doesn't know what TEDx is or TED, TED started in the 80s in the States. It was about technology, entertainment, and design, and it was about educating people and talks that would be specially curated around topics like the three: technology, entertainment, and design. And over time, it's grown so much exponentially. And there was so much appetite for TED as a brand to grow in different places. And so TEDx exploded across the world. And TEDx they are events which are run by volunteers, so organizers in communities. So whether it's the NHS or whether it's a school or a student union or a city, organizers all over the world apply for a license to run their own TEDx event. So it's independently organized, but it's very affiliated with the brand. There's a lot of rules to follow, but it's just such a beautiful opportunity to spread ideas and stories. TED is all about ideas worth spreading. So that's just a little crash course in TED and TEDx. But what would you like to know? I can tell you all sorts of things.
Yeah, sure. Well, we'll go into a bit more detail on the actual event. But I think, a lot of people have heard of TED, but like you say, the main TED event, it's in California, isn't it? I think is that the main event, but not everybody can go to that event because it's quite exclusive and expensive to go to that event as well. But a lot of people have watched TED Talks online. There's amazing talks, very famous talks that a lot of people have seen, like Simon Sinek's famous talk. I think that's one of the most widely watched talk about, which relates to his book about Start With Why. But like you say, being able to take some of that TED experience and bring it to the masses, to bring it no matter where you are. If somebody wants to take that format and run an independently run event, a TEDx event in their local city or town or community, they can do that. And that's what you've done. You are one of the executive producers. You've got the license to do this TEDx Newcastle University event, and you had to go through quite a process to do that. You've had to go over to the US. You've had to get the license from there. You have to adhere to some very strict rules and guidelines to do that in order to get the approval. So just want to just briefly talk about how this journey started and to get to where you are now.
Absolutely. So in 2018, I went to an event at Newcastle University, and it was a TEDx event. And I'd heard of TEDx, I'd watched the videos online, and I thought they looked really cool and they were inspiring. And so I went along to this event with my sister. It was the day of the Beast from the East, so terrible weather, but people still turned out and it was packed. And it was such a interactive day. So you go to conferences, you go to events, and they often just some talks and then you go home. With TEDx, it's very much about the networking and the workshops and the interactive experience with the audience, which I should say we're replicating online this year. But, to see that firsthand, to see the virtual reality goggles, VR goggles, and to play with big Jenga and different activities, I just found it so interesting, this way of running an event. But I also felt, oh my word, this is created by students. This is from their imagination. The quality of the production was like something I'd never seen. So for me, that really lit a spark under me. And at the time I was working at Newcastle Uni as a staff member. And so I started telling people internally about this fabulous event. How could we grow it? How could we support the students? At the time, I spoke to so many departments, but it just never really went anywhere because it wasn't in anyone's workload. And so I had the wonderful opportunity. I was very fortunate to study an MBA at Newcastle University Business School. And during that time, I thought to myself, well, I'm passionate about TEDx. And I'd helped them with the society with their 2019 event. So I thought, well, I'm going to be a student. Why don't I apply as president of this society? And I'll put on an event as the executive producer. And so that's what I did. And I guess the bit about the license is, for those who don't know, anyone can apply for a TEDx license. It has to be linked to a location or school or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that will be for 100 people only. So you can only have 100 people at your event. That has an impact if you're looking for sponsorship, if you're wanting your delegates to attend. We've sold out every year for our event, and we've had complaints of people saying, why can't I come? So the first thing I did was I thought, well, if we want to grow this, we need to get an enhanced license and have 100+ license. Mm-hmm. And so to do that, you have to go to an official official TED event, which could be in California, could be in New York, could be in Vancouver. It kind of moves around. But yeah, so that's why I took myself and a student, Gabrielle, and we invested our personal time and energy in getting that license so we could grow this event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing. And when was that? 2019?
2019, yeah. So it was like a bit of a flashback.
I was going to say, so I mean, it's, putting on events. If people have, I think a lot of people think putting on events is easy, but it's not. Yes, you can put on an event, but to put on a really good, high quality event of the standard that your event is going to be on the 11th of April takes a lot of time and effort and money to put on an event like this. And it is like a marathon, but I think it's like you've done a double marathon, because the original event was meant to take place last year and had to get postponed, obviously, because of COVID. So you've had to completely adapt and pivot and roll with that and keep your spirits up and the volunteers and keep everything together. So you have done an amazing job to do that, to get to where you are now. And the finish line is nearly here. So
it is. It's in 11 days, so not long at all. I guess what I would say is I'm really proud of our team. So we're a team of volunteers, but these are students. Some of them are 18 years old, 19 years old, who are doing stellar work and volunteering about 200 hours a year. Mm-hmm. So it works out at least 10 hours a week. And I'm so proud of them because they've gained skills in how to manage logistics, project management, sponsorship, resourcing, or working on a very limited budget, technical production skills. They're learning how to live stream at the moment. We've been chatting to our speakers. They've been coaching speakers. So, I mean, and just the skills, the art and the ability for these students to get ideas out of their head and their imagination into reality. That has been such a journey to watch, and it's beautiful. So on that note, I'd like to show you something which is pride of place in my home. But this is the X, which some people may have seen, but that is a very kind of standout X. So when you see TEDx, it's normally the red X, and we can change it a little bit, but we still have to stick to certain parameters. But that X was created by a student called Jakub Stadnik, and he's from Poland, and he painted it for us, and it was stunning. And we were going to do this beautiful face-to-face event with the student art exhibition and all kinds of special surprises. We had circus people, we had still walkers. It was going to be beautiful. And then COVID happened. So my point is, I just love that this idea, this X, has now been digitized for a digital event. We've been working with Corinne for Powder Butterflies. So she is amazing. She's one of my favorite artists, and she's been actually curating a special commemorative pin for us. So to turn that painting into a digital vector that we could use to create the pin has been a journey in itself. Mm-hmm. And I think just the support from the local community and the engagement we've had with different parties, I think has been really powerful to watch. And again, these are students having these interactions. So for me, it's really about the work that they've done to build these networks and to grow this. But I think as well, what you said about, how it's gone and adapting to COVID and all this kind of stuff, it's certainly taught myself and my co-executive producer and co-TEDx licensee, Gabrielle, it's taught us a lot about leadership, because we have had challenges. We've had to learn how to pivot, put something online, to recreate that very interactive feeling that you would have from a workshops and all that kind of thing, to actually take that online, it's a different feel. And so it's worth saying as well, a shout out to our speakers who have been so brilliant at coming to rehearsals, attending and working on their scripts. I don't think people realize how much curation goes into those talks.
Yeah, no, amazing. Well, we'll talk about the speakers in a minute, but everything you've just said there just demonstrates it's more than just an event. It is a really immersive experience for not only the delegates but the volunteers as well. Like the experience of the learning that they're going to get from working on this, then they're not going to get that anywhere else. So there's more to the event than just put on an event and having some speakers on stage. There's so much thought and effort gone into every aspect of it, and I've had some sneaky peeks of some of the stuff that you've been doing behind the scenes, and it is world class what you've done. So hats off to you, because like it is. I would say, I think it's better than any TEDx event I've seen. It seems like the standard of what you put in, like the stage, the videography, like you say, the artwork, the pin badge, the thought that's gone into the experience of the volunteers, the care that's gone into that, and the opportunities to be as inclusive and accessible to all these different people. I've not seen that in any other TEDx event, and I don't even do it with my events. So hats off to you for doing all that, right? So so on that, what can people expect from the event now that it is all online?
Sure, absolutely. So we have 8 talks. So just to be clear, these 8 talks are specially curated TEDx talks like you might see on a YouTube channel. And so they have been pre-recorded to make sure that we have the best quality of experience for our audience, but also so that we can make it accessible, because we want to have subtitles and things like that. So I think that's going to be beautiful for people to really feel that energy of the speakers. We will also have a very important guest speaker, which we will be announcing in the next few days. So keep an eye on our social media channels. But this will be a discussion around democracy and citizen assemblies. And I think it's very relevant in today's climate. There's a lot of discussion happening about very important topics, and we want to contribute towards some of those discussions. So that is something top secret I'm not sharing today, but keep an eye on our socials. We have actually a whole host of workshops you can attend. So how it works with TEDx normally is you would be able to participate in workshops. We have 2 slots in the day, so delegates can choose if they want to attend or not, but we're still tweaking the final bit of the program, but they should have 8 to choose from. So 4 choices in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, and they would choose which one they want to go to. So I can tell you some of those workshops already, because I think they will help some of the attendees or people listening now to know. So we have Nicola Jane Little from Mint Business Club is talking about, imagine a world where we don't fit in. So you don't actually fit in, you don't try to meet the same agenda as everyone else. And I think that's going to be really powerful, because it's a really important story where so many of us do try to fit in. And I think that's also exploring entrepreneurship and stories of people who've actually had the courage to stand out. We have one of our speakers, Lord Richard MacLeod. He has created an Arabic script. So he is going to be teaching anyone who would like to attend his workshop how to do calligraphy in both English and Arabic, and they will be able to write their name. So that's going to be quite an unusual artistic workshop. We have Polly Brennan from Adventurous Coaching, who will be doing a session on unpacking your mental fitness kit bag. So that's all about the challenges we're all facing right now. How can you what do you have in a kit bag or your toolkit that you can actually use to help tackle these situations? We have Karen Elliott, who is a doctorate associate professor as well at Newcastle University Business School, and she is speaking alongside Grant Murray. They are talking about the relationship between mental health and money, why that matters. So that's one of the workshop choices. We also have a whole bunch of others. We have Lego Serious Play that is extremely limited those spaces. So I should say with that, we had a competition. It actually ended yesterday, so it's too late for anyone listening now. But we had the first 15 people who bought tickets for our event were gifted with a Lego Serious Play workshop. So they will be sent in the post their Lego for that workshop, and they will be able to explore some ideas and just really cultivate their curiosity and, you know, get in touch with themselves and their leadership and their work. So that's going to be led by Dr. Ben Bader, who is a deputy head of leadership at Newcastle University Business School. So we've got quite a lot of different options. I'm trying to think, we have a clown warrior spirit workshop, which sounds very strange, but this is going to be led by Rosa, which will be all about activating your inner strength, and that's going to be great. And then the other one is Nathalie Paris. So she will be doing a French workshop all about what can picture books teach us about diversity. It's going to be in French, and it's just we wanted to have that exploration of boundaries and borders and, you know, the world. It's a very we've tried to make it as inclusive as possible wherever we can.
Yeah, they sound amazing, and they're the workshops, but there's also the main talks as well, which we'll talk about. But the theme, so there is a central theme to the event, which is Imagine a World. So
Absolutely.
How did that come about? Because you could choose that yourselves, couldn't you?
Yes, so Imagine a World came about because TEDx titles and TEDx events are usually pretty abstract, because you want to let the audience put their own perspective onto the title. So for instance, we thought a lot about Dare to Dream. Do we do that title? Do we do something around cultivating curiosity? You know, and so a lot of our sub-themes, which I'll tell you about in a minute, actually were part of our initial ideas generation that we'd done. And a lot of our work has been very collaborative in an iterative stage. So we have had quite an entrepreneurial, fast failure type approach to running this event. But I should say that we had the committee that went out organizing in 2019, and the incoming committee had brainstormed and come up with various ideas. And they were all around things like climate change and corporate social responsibility and social justice. And these are issues that are really key to our students, that they care about and wanted to speak to. And so as a result of that, we then decided to have this overall Imagine a World, where we can say to people, how do you imagine a world? And then we have also the sub-themes of a world without borders, a world made better by science. We have cultivating curiosity. We have a mindset matters, and also finally my favorite, which is a home is where the heart is. So what is home? What is belonging? What does that mean? So really, we have put a lot of effort into those themes, and then tried to curate the talks around them. That was quite a challenge, I should say, because actually we had over 100 applicants, and we had a defined theme of what we wanted. So each TEDx event is different, but some TEDx events will just curate through reaching out to potential sponsors, not sponsors, speakers, and they'll actually curate a program through a lot of research, whereas we wanted to open up the opportunity to people to apply to.
Yeah. So on the speakers, so it's important to say these aren't people who've just rocked up and decided to give a talk. You know, people have had to apply. They've had to submit a video of them giving a presentation. So they've got to be a certain quality already, or certain interest in topic. But then once they've been shortlisted, they then have to go through a process of being coached, and I guess in the TED way or the TEDx way. So these speakers, you know, they have been really coached in a really great way, so that the end product is the best possible version of what they could come up with. So how long does that process, how long did that go on for? And then what does the end result look like?
Sure. So I would say that it's usually around 4 months that you would spend in quite intensive coaching with those speakers, and that would be once a week. So if you think of the workload of that, we have our curation director, Anna, and we have Ziyu, who is our speakers coordinator. They have to do all of the admin associated with liaising with myself and Gabby and I with TED and TEDx about the rules and their talks, and their slides need to be factual. There's various rules about what they can and can't say on the stage. Everything has to be referenced. It needs to be of a certain production quality, no swearing. At the same time, we're representing Newcastle University here. We want to have positive, uplifting talks that aren't going to be controversial. So there's so much work that goes into that. And if you have 10 speakers and you have to curate them and do all this work, you're looking at about 10 to 20 hours just for them each a week. So, and then we also having our logistics meetings and our other meetings around this. So in terms of the speaker process, I think what I'd like to say here is, you're right, Paul, it is an in-depth thing, and it's been much longer than it would normally be, because we've been preparing this since 2019. And then obviously COVID happened and we couldn't run the event. So our speakers have been so patient and understanding in us as we flexed as the situation changed. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we really wanted to hold this event this year is because we've already had 2 cohorts of students, like 2 academic years of working on this program, and we'd like to deliver it so that if it runs again, it can be a new program. So in terms of applicants, we had 100 people apply. We also did reaching out to the local community. We had an event at Tuss Park, which was very kind of them to give us a space where we spoke to potential interested applicants. We told them about our themes. We did quite an unusual approach in that we gave our speakers a task. So the first task wasn't actually to do a video of themselves. It was to tell us what they thought about an image, and it was a very abstract image, but it was for us to see what they were about, who were they. So it's not to say that you have to be a particular type of person to do a TEDx talk, but TED is all about encouraging curiosity, and so we wanted to see what our speakers were wanting to contribute to. So like I say, we had over 100 applicants. We then shortlisted some. And then that next stage, we asked people to submit a video, and we got 50 videos at that point. Lots of people dropped off. And then we looked at those videos, again, a lot of time to watch them and look at them. And then we were able to get to our final 10. So I should say as well, we had so many people interested. And here's a tip for anyone wanting to do a TEDx talk. Think about what the audience is going to get out of it, because we found that a lot of people just wanted it because of the amazing credibility it will lend to them. They wanted to be on this platform. They wanted to have their voice in that way, seen as a TEDx speaker and have it on their LinkedIn headline. But actually, it's not really about the speakers. It's about the audience, and it's what can the speaker gift to the audience. Yeah. So when Gabrielle and I went to TEDx, that was such a huge lesson that we learned, and it changed our entire way of working on our program. Mm-hmm. So that's a bit about the application process and things. These speakers have been working on their talk since 2019. I'm so glad that they can do it now. It is worth saying we had 2 speakers pull out at the last minute. I'm so sad about that because they were absolutely amazing stories. So both happened actually to be women of color. So they were representing diverse communities, which hasn't, we wanted to be inclusive right from the beginning. And now, we're really missing that in our program. So we have got various activities and things happening that do make it inclusive, but it's just such a shame that that's happened. And I think one of the things to say there is the international team that is working on this. So especially with COVID, we've got colleagues who've been working on this from Pakistan, from India, from China, from Belfast, from Poland, from Slovakia. So it's quite, international collaboration, but it also gives these students a really interesting perspective on working on a project during COVID, and helps them to really embed their knowledge about international skills. And I think for the speakers, it's actually added something special, because those speakers then have been able to learn about another culture, and so some of the talks, it's hard to know what someone means if you don't get the jokes. So we've had a lot of exploring scripts in that way, which was not what we expected, and it's been really fun.
Mm-hmm. I think that that's amazing. I mean, definitely the team that you've got, it's a very international and diverse and inclusive team that you've got working on this event. So definitely worth highlighting that. And then the speakers, it just shows that to be a good TEDx speaker, you've got to be serious and you've got to be committed, and I think you've got to be generous as well, because that's the thing. I've definitely met lots of people who just say, "Oh, I want to be a TEDx speaker," but it's all about them. They want to be a TEDx speaker because they think it sounds cool. They want to promote themselves. They think they've got something interesting to say, but they don't necessarily have anything interesting to say. They just want the accolade of saying that. So people coming to your TEDx Newcastle University event on the 11th of April can be assured that the people who have been chosen for this, they are generous, they are committed, they are serious. They've put everything they can into these talks, and you guys have helped them do that as well. So the people are in for a treat for what they're going to see at the event.
I hope so. And I think just to say on the generosity, I think you're right. It is a generous thing from the speakers to do, because you're actually giving up your time. So most people don't realize, but TEDx events are all volunteer led. So we're not allowed to be paid. For instance, I'm hosting on the day, so I'm not permitted to have my name on there on the slides as in terms of sponsor logos or anything like that. For speakers, they can't sponsor, they also can't get paid, which a lot of people don't know about. We're not allowed to pay our performers. So this is such a shame, because we would love to do that, but it's against the rules of TEDx. So I think the speakers have been incredibly generous with their time in curating their talks and going through rehearsals and edits and the iterative process that we've been doing with them. We've also done group rehearsals to really add value to our speakers so they can coach each other. And I think as well, remembering these are students who are coaching, professional people, not necessarily professional speakers, but people who have got a lot more experience than them. And they have done a fabulous job. And we've had such wonderful compliments about our curation team. So I'm really proud of them, because I know that was one of their fears. How can we teach these wonderful people anything? And actually, we've heard that they've learned a lot through this process.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I would say that the speakers are definitely generous, but I think the event itself is generous. And I think you, as the organizer and executive producer, have been very generous, and you're providing a real gift to people who have worked on it, but also who come along to it. So that everything about it just comes across. I know the conversations we've had as well before this as well, how much you've put into this personally, how much you've invested your time and effort and your own personal money into creating this amazing event, this amazing experience for everyone to enjoy. That is, you have created a real gift here for everyone, Ashleigh. So I'm going to say thank you in advance for doing that. All right.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, Paul. It's really kind. I think a point there is just to say, this is a massive team effort, and I have got just as much out of this as everyone else. For me, going to that first event in 2018 and just seeing how much it touched me in my life, it's actually really it's changed my perspective in so many ways, and brought new friends and opened up my worldview in so many ways. And my whole passion for me personally is about using my platform to and my networks to help people to share their stories with the world. And so I think that's a really powerful thing through TED and TEDx, that we can help people to share their stories, and stories are what bring us together. They're so important. So it's really, for me, I get so much out of this that I just adore it. I don't know if this event is going to run again. We would love it to, but really we have to be mindful of managing expectations, because running an event of the quality that TEDx expect or want, of the professional video quality and editing and all this kind of thing, it takes time, it takes money, it takes attention, and it takes governance, because things can go wrong as well. And I think this is where I would like to say, there are some amazing TEDx organizers all over the world, and we're a real community. I still reach out to them all the time, and it's been great to to ask them questions and get tips and advice. And so yeah, it feels like it's been a very collaborative international project, and I've loved it. It's been wonderful.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. But definitely these things just don't happen, without all this time and money and effort going into it. So, and it's worth saying as well, you don't get any funding, you don't get any core funding for it. It's TEDx Newcastle University, but TEDx Newcastle University hasn't funded it. They're not paying for it. It's independently run. It's volunteer led, and you have got some great sponsors. The biggest sponsor you've got some sponsorship from Accenture. So I'm sure, thank you very much to Accenture for doing that and lending some support. But you do need people to buy tickets for it. So if people want to see events of this quality, they need to buy a ticket. And if they want to see it happen again next year, they need to buy a ticket. So how can people buy tickets at the moment?
Sure. So I want to say something quickly about Accenture. So thank you so much to Accenture for supporting us. We are really honored that they have. They do work closely with universities and with TEDx Newcastle as well. So we're really honored that they are supporting us, and it just means so much behind the scenes when you're working so hard to have that support. I think in terms of the ticket sales, yes, please buy tickets, because like Paul says, it helps to keep this event going. It means that potentially we may be able to run it again. But I think really importantly, it's difficult right now in the creative industries, to do anything. There's a lot of red tape. Even for our filming day for our speakers, we had to jump through every hoop you can imagine to make sure it was safe for everyone. And actually everything went really smoothly. We were all COVID tested, all 2 meters apart, but the work behind making that safe as well was quite significant. So shout out to Proto as well, who were great for letting us film there at a really special rate. So we're very grateful to Proto, who are an in-kind sponsor, as well as our TL Multimedia, who have done a lot of our production and editing. I think it's also good for us to say thank you to Paul Scurrow from that branding company and Blind Sea Photo. So if you've seen any of the stunning images of our speakers, they were taken by Paul. And, Paul's been volunteering with the TEDx Society for a couple of years now, and just the stuff he does and the graphics he creates, they really are incredible. I think in terms of ticket sales, so we can pop a link in here in the chat after, I guess, the call, but you can also go on our TEDx Newcastle University website. There is a link at the top that says Imagine a World Conference, which will take you to our hop-in ticket page. We would love to see you there. I think just remembering that, this is a time for us to come together and hopefully be uplifted through people sharing their stories and talks.
Yeah, amazing. Well, definitely, I'm going to put some links underneath this in LinkedIn and Twitter and anywhere else it appears on YouTube as well to make it super easy for people to buy tickets. But at the moment, tickets are £25 for the general public or £20 for Newcastle University alumni and students and staff. Is that right?
That's right. And if you happen to be a student, I would highly recommend that you sign up to the TEDx Society, because you can get a cheaper ticket. Because if you join the society, you'll get a free ticket. So it works out a bit less. But you have to be a Newcastle Uni student to access that. So please, if you are one, check out the society.
Yeah, awesome. And I've been sharing a couple of things on LinkedIn as I was saying, this would be a great Easter present for yourself or loved ones, So instead, if you don't want to buy lots of chocolate or presents for people that they don't really want, this would be what a great gift this would be for someone to buy a TEDx Newcastle University ticket. And then the other thing I was thinking is, if you're a business or an organization and you want to buy a bunch of tickets for your staff or for your customers or your clients or your partners, this would be a great way to do that as well, to show your support, which isn't direct sponsorship, but it's kind of sponsorship in a way. If you're buying a bulk load of tickets, that is a great way to support all the amazing things that you do. And the other thing as well, I think there is a lot of cost goes into running these events. Yes, you're volunteers, but you're still having to pay some suppliers. You're still having to pay for venue hire. You're still having to pay for some of the AV and another editing going on. But I think as well, if people buy tickets, that keeps the motivation up for the organisers as well and the team. You know, that feels good when people are buying tickets, because it's recognition of all the effort that's gone into it. So again, if anyone's watching this, buy your tickets now, because I know they are. You shared with me the tickets are starting to fly out.
Yeah, they are. And I think as well, you know, it's worth us saying there, what does your ticket entail? So what do you get with your ticket? So yes, you get to enter our event. You get to see the 8 speakers that we have carefully curated for you. But you also access the workshops. You're able to access a special virtual world. It is a surprise. Wait till you see it. But that was created for us by Owen from 3D Virtual Spaces, I believe the title is. So, you know, we're going to have that, which will be great. We have the most amazing special design digital things by Anne English, who's one of our speakers. So they are some special delegate kind of treats that you'll see. We have the commemorative pin created by Corin from Powder Butterfly that will be posted to attendees. We have a virtual gift bag. So this is like speakers have PDFs or things they can access for the delegates. And then also we have a virtual bookstore. So a couple of our speakers have got, you know, recordings or things that they've done. And so we're able to share those with our attendees at a discounted rate. We also have some really exciting things like Richard MacLeod. So Lord Richard MacLeod, who is speaking, has done some prints for us. So we will be giving a digital print for our attendees to download. They could make that as a desktop wallpaper or a background, you know, so there are quite a lot of different things that you're getting in your ticket. But I guess the main thing is just supporting this entrepreneurialism of our students, the imagination. When you see the stage, we really hope that you're delighted with it, because I just want to point out that these were all ideas in students' minds. So they were once upon a time a drawing on a piece of paper, you know, and tossed around and, you know, again, just like adapted and just improved and improved and improved. And for me to see that become a reality, when I first saw the stage, I wanted to cry, and the speakers had such a great response to that too. So we'll be sharing some trailers with you soon, and I'm really hoping that their response to all of that is great, because yeah, I'm just so proud of these students. They are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, well, they've all done an amazing job, and you've done an amazing job. And definitely, I know I've seen the stage, and I had a sneaky peek of some of the videos as well, and it's stunning what you've done. And that's all, again, goes back to the generosity for the speakers, making them feel special as well, because it is a unique, special experience that they're going to remember forever. They're going to be telling people for the rest of their life that they're a TEDx speaker, or that they've worked on a TEDx event. So the last thing I guess I want to say, because I know you're very busy. You've got a job where you're working in alumni relations for the university, as well as organising this amazing event. But it's not just for people in Newcastle. It's not just for people in Newcastle University. It can be anybody, anywhere in the country or even in the world potentially could attend this event.
That's so true. We've actually got attendees right now in Papua New Guinea. We have the Dominican Republic, Spain, Canada, India, China, and then all over the UK. And there's probably other places I've forgotten. But we were delighted to see that kind of reaction, because I don't know what's brought them to the event, but we're so excited about it. Honestly, our Facebook stats are insane. I mean, they're over 100,000 people, you know, in our analytics each week, you know, looking at our page. And so it's really quite amazing to see how that has grown. And I think a quick point on that as well is to kind of raise awareness of these students, to help grow their profile, to grow awareness of what's gone into this, and to help talk about our speakers and give a bit of it behind the scenes. We've been doing a TEDx Backstage series. So that's been on our TEDx Newcastle University Facebook page, and we've been sharing a bit more of a sneak peek of the program through sharing what's gone on behind, and a bit of an insight into the speakers and their experience. And I think that's a really good point as well, that, you know, if you're doing virtual events now, tell people about it, do it, you know, do live streams, do chats like this, because you never know who's watching and who that story might impact.
Exactly. So if anyone's watching this, buy a ticket, share this video, encourage anyone else that you know to buy a ticket. So anybody who wants to be inspired and motivated and wants some new ideas and to grow their network as well, and show their support for innovative events, but also creativity, get behind TEDx Newcastle University on the 11th of April. But buy a ticket before then. Don't wait until the last day.
Well, yes, because we want to send you your commemorative pin, and we need to post those out. And one quick thing that I want to say just to finish off there is, you know, Paul, I'd like to thank you to you, Newcastle Startup Week Plan Digital, and your new platform Tribes for the support that we have had as a student society. You know, we have different students from different backgrounds, very international, who've come along to your Founders Friday face-to-face events, to your startup community Facebook group. And I think just exploring partnerships, working with people, meeting industry experts, creatives, people in the tech sector, fintech sector. There are so many crossover connections that in this ecosystem we have in the northeast of England, that is just really exciting. And I think it's fair to say that for a lot of students, going into those spaces can be really intimidating. And it's never like that for us, because at your events, the students, regardless of their age, are always welcomed. And even younger, you know, I've seen Gateshead College students, for instance, around 17, 18, coming to some of those events. So I just want to really pay tribute to that, and thank you for all your support in that way, because it's been amazing to feel that you, as students and as a student society, are valued in your local community. I think that's really important. So that opportunity for cross-cultural and cross-collaborative interdisciplinary connections has been so important, and we're just so grateful for your support.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate you saying that. And you know, I think that's the thing. That's why I like you so much, Ash, because I think we share similar ethos. You know, we're trying to do similar things in different ways, and I recognize that in everything that you're doing, and that's why I want to support you and encourage other people to get involved as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, collaboration over competition, and I guess we'll leave it there because I better run back to work.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Very much.
Bye.
Cheers.